Ladies and gentlemen, because DeVoe is here, grab your coffee as we move to the more shocking news, the news of the day, which we call the good news, the bad news, and the other shit. That's right. We don't know what else to call it. And let me remind you all, we are not a news program.
No, we're not.
You know, it's all about the fact that, when we, like I said, we designed this platform. We decided to do shows because we couldn't get anybody to do shows. And I said every morning I kind of get up and have coffee and watch the news and look at the internet.
So I might as well turn on a video and talk some mess.
Exactly. So that's why we have this. And the reason why it's the good news, the bad news, and the other shit is that's kind of the way I felt about the news. It was good news, bad news, and a lot of other shit.
A lot
of other shit. Now, DeVoe, you missed it yesterday because this is a week where as I turn on my stuff, which is USA Today, Russia Television, Al Jazeera, Yahoo News, not any crazy stuff. Because you got to get all kind of sides. They usually gives me a pretty well-rounded group. Sometimes Huffington. So it gives you a well-rounded kind of news. So I don't choose. I just take whatever the hot thing. Well,
okay.
The news yesterday was sex, DeVoe. And yesterday the big headline on Russia Television, Russia.
Okay, well, there's not
was
a
that
lot of sex going on.
The state of Louisiana has decriminalized oral and anal sex. Decriminalized. You didn't even know. Did you know that it was a crime that that they prosecuted you for having oral or anal sex? They can have you have a sex offender on your driver's license.
So what if you're like two gay boys?
Exactly. What we found out was that it was always a matter of selective prosecution. We showed that almost all of the people ever prosecuted in Louisiana were women, and 3/4 of them were black. The other ones, the ones that were male, were gay and transsexual sex workers.
Well, that's a way to oppress your people. Go, Louisiana.
And I'm telling you now, and we reminded people that even though
and ridiculous does that sound? How do you control what's going on in someone's bedroom?
Well, there you go. Now here's the thing.
Okay.
And it's called special. It's called
willfully having sex. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's called crime against nature, unnatural carnal copulation. Even though I can say a BJ is so natural. So even you, with your natural background, you all hemp and herbal rubs, you would agree, I think, that oral sex is still in the natural range. It's not unnatural.
It's not unnatural.
Okay, thank you, DeVoe. We was scared there for a minute.
I saw how you were asking.
I just wanted to make sure now because, DeVoe, they said it was an unnatural carnal.
I think that's ridiculous, that the human body is an anatomy that we have. And if two people are together, they should make a choice wherever they want to kiss.
That's right.
I can't touch that because it's a crime.
Anal sex too, right?
Well, I mean,
Wait a minute.
Yes, anal sex too, though. That's very right.
That's right. Packing mud.
How in God's green earth are you going to judge someone for what they do in the privacy of their home?
I don't want to.
I mean, when you start killing people, you got a problem. S&M could be a little touchy. You could probably criminalize that. Criminalize that. Because if you have a fetish to, kill someone to have sex with them, there's really a problem. Well,
we're going to examine some of that. So this is where this all started. Now, I want to remind you all that Louisiana simply decriminalized. So now it's no longer a felony to get a blowjob there. It's now just a misdemeanor. And they say that what they say in an article is that if you pretty much do anything other than vaginal intercourse, you face up to 6 months in jail and a $500 fine.
Well, how do they figure out?
It's selective.
As
Victor said.
I told you. It'll be your next.
Somebody's in there doing some packets of mud. I see some Astral Glide. You have evidence.
Your neighbors are calling the police. My neighbors, I see they're having oral sex. Get over there right now.
I told you it's gonna be the neighbors blasting those people.
What is going
now,
on
remember,
in the world?
And I told you, Idaho has it still too. Anal sex can get you 15 years in Michigan.
And then
anal sex is a felony in North Carolina.
All those 15 years.
And Virginia, too. In Virginia, it's a Class C felony, including any kind of oral sex.
But these are Bible Belt places. And it's because biblically, there's such strong beliefs behind not doing these things, you can stand on that. I'm believing that that's how they're getting away with that, Mario.
Well,
I feel sorry for the young people in cars because now they're gonna have radar guns, and if they're in the cars and having sex on the beach or
You're
anything like
going
that,
to jail,
they're gonna
buddy.
say we caught you. The radar said there was an anal implant,
And
so
do
we got to take you
oral
in.
sex goes on in a car
That's
across the nation.
I need a video.
We may have the statistics. Statistics.
Now, you guys, this stuff is not new.
Statistics right here. Stay tuned.
But DeVoe, these laws, like the Louisiana law, it's from the 1800s. In fact, they said the law was enacted 7 years before statehood.
Oh my God. Well, you know.
So these are old laws. They're not new laws. They're old laws.
Again, they were old ways, ancient times. You know, again, it goes back.
Watch
to
out in the Big Easy.
It goes back to the biblical thing. You know, it doesn't speak highly of oral sex or anal sex.
And we want to, here at Pack Stereo TV, oral sex with us. High plane.
Well, Mario.
A plane of giving. Remember, it's better to give than to receive.
In his case, anyway.
And as far as anal sex, no one wants to talk about it, but we know you're
Everybody's
doing
doing
that too.
But you know
You
what?
just up to Hershey.
Sex is supposed to be for reproducing, okay? For having
Sex,
children.
really?
That's not for pleasure.
No, really?
If you're talking about that far back, yes.
I thought it seemed so pleasurable.
Well, it
He
always
did that
has
just to,
been.
that was a
Even
trick
in
by
the
God.
1800s, they
God
used to
tricked
go,
you into reproducing by making pussy so good.
In the 1800s, they used to do underground, fun houses, so to speak, and have all the sex they could ever possibly want. Those people who were making those rules and talking about you can't have anal sex and oral sex, they were the ones having anal and oral sex in those underground clubs.
Well, where were those again?
In the 1800s.
Most of them were
too.
in Europe.
So,
yeah.
well, maybe that was the way. In other words, if vaginal sex was made good so that we would propagate, maybe anal sex was made kind of good so keep the population down.
A lot of people
Oral
use
sex,
that
maybe that's good because they as an alternative.
as an
To
alternative.
make
And everybody's different. How do you clump us all up? I mean, everybody's not going to be the same.
Well, part of the problem is that they're all getting pregnant. That's part of the problem. And the issue with teenage pregnancy has been such an ongoing issue that there have been really a lot of, over the years, you've heard different movements, people
But that
trying
has
to
nothing
deal.
to do with that, Mario.
Well,
That's not.
no, it
pregnant-
doesn't, but it leads it to the next sex topic because.
sorry.
No, because it's related though.
Okay.
Because in dealing with all this, sexual freedom and still the fact that our laws are so archaic, it also reflects many of our attitudes because it's getting in the way of some medical things, and that is really dealing with the issues of teen pregnancy, sexually active teens, and the spread of disease, things like HIV/AIDS, and trying to get a handle on it. They've always been most afraid of HIV hitting the younger groups because they're like little rabbits.
Yeah.
At least that's what we
Everybody will
think.
have them.
And so the controversy that was part two was that a Massachusetts town did a survey of their 7th grade and up students about their sexual history. And people went berserk, okay? Parents were upset. They said they were at students as young as 12 years old had to fill out what they called a youth risk behavior assessment form, where they assess their behavior for risk. And among the things they asked is if they've ever had oral sex and what type of protection they last used. Well, many of the parents were outraged.
Like,
Arlene Tessitore said, "You're talking about kids who probably don't even know what oral sex is." I wish I had a picture of her daughter. We can all bet, huh?
Oh.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. Hey, I don't know, maybe not. I'm just saying.
When's
Some of
my
these
time
parents,
at oral
my
sex?
child would know nothing about sex. And we're going, I don't know. With
You
this
haven't
child
checked-
here, the
you
one
haven't
with
checked-
the
yeah.
and the thongies,
Check her
she
tweets,
may.
okay?
Yeah. I think I saw your daughter's pics on Facebook, okay?
Oh, that's cold.
Exactly.
That's cold.
But anyway, because this is part of the reality. I hate to say it like that, but for many people it is a reality. Because often the parents are the least ones to recognize what is obvious, and that their children are sexually active. So, in order to deal with this topic, we wanted to find out, first of all, how did you all feel about this? Do you feel like it's really an intrusion? Now, the parents War they did have a consent form, but the consents are handled different ways. One of the consent forms that they're using in some of the schools they send the form home, and if you don't object, the kid gets to class. So the kids just don't even give it to their parents, and they get to sex education class.
Oh, interesting.
And if there's no objection, they get to class. So some of the parents are upset about that. But the first thing I wanted to raise is what age, was anybody, first of all, let me ask just you all, any of you upset that a 12-year-old was surveyed about oral sex?
No, I'm not upset about that.
Yes, an interesting one. When you say surveyed,
Ask the question.
Yeah, now I didn't catch this part, Mark, so just check me on that. They got the approval from the parents, right?
No, well, that's a matter of opinion. They send a form home,
Right.
and if you don't send the form in, it's assumed that you agree.
Oh, well, then I may have questions about the
Yeah,
approach
they
of
should
getting
have
In
it.
our day,
Yeah.
they sent home a form, and you brought the form back.
And if you didn't get it, it means no.
And to me, I go like, what kept you from signing the form yourself back then?
Right.
It ain't like this is some foolproof rocket science
Right.
for kids who want
Right.
to take the class. No
Right.
offense.
Right.
I mean, many of you signed your own damn report cards, okay, back
Hello.
then. So any form, if you want to tackle on the basis of the form not getting to the parents, then short of having the parent come in and be fingerprinted and getting a notarized approval, you have something people can,
Yeah, they can manipulate you can.
Sure.
Look, collecting the data is always the most important thing, is how the process of collecting data, not just simply the results of it. So you know about that, Mark.
Well, yeah. Now I'm admit you guys, I have some very distinct biases in this, so I'll admit that they're biases, and I'll try to point them out in the issue of all fairness. But let's tell. So what I did is I went to go looking, because about this whole thing about the surveys, the whole thing. And because I do have some history in this kind of thing. And I want everybody to understand, I went looking, and I went to the Academy of Pediatrics, also the Organization for Family Practitioners, psychologists, and it turns out everybody has a sexual history assessment form. This has been going on. In fact, everybody's form is very similar. The debate has been when to give the form and who to give the form to. The other reason, say, why at school. The reason why it's really done in school because that's where you have the kids.
Yeah, where else would you
They
do
go
it?
to where you can get them. The reason why people say in pediatrics, why do they give them so many shots? Because that's when they go to the doctor.
Right.
In other words, the pressures, why do they immunize newborns for hepatitis, which is going to be a risk for them when they're preteens and teens? That's when it first shows up. It shows up as a risk when you're sexually active.
Right.
So why are we immunizing newborns for a disease they don't see till they're sexually active?
Because you got them in your hand.
Because that's because you have them.
Right.
And the idea is now that you have them, give them everything.
You're not going to get them at 16.
Right. Immunize them now for cervical cancer, whatever things you have. That's the idea. So people who don't have kids are not really aware of this, because those of you who do have kids are very distinctly aware, because you go in and your kids get 5 and 6 shots one time.
Yep.
And people have that discussion. I said, well, if they could mix all the shots into one, would you care? And they go, no. Oh, I said, so you only have the issue that they don't want to give. The reason they give them at different sites is because if there's a reaction, that's one thing. And also because to avoid any inner reactions, some of the viruses can be combined, immunizations can be combined. And they put them at different sites. So it's really the number of shots.
Right.
If they was all together in one shot, you wouldn't care.
Right.
So first thing, that's the first thing. Now, because these are the things you have to deal with. So everybody has a youth risk behavior assessment form. So then you go, why 12? Well, that's where the statistics, take a look at that. Because now here's where it gets fun, you guys. This is really where it gets fun. I started out trying to get statistics on this, right? I couldn't help the statistics on us.
I knew.
That's the part that makes it so crazy.
I knew it was
I went to the Kinsey Institute. Now, have people heard of the Kinsey Institute?
I haven't.
Oh, yes.
Okay, this is the most famous. It really is named after sex researcher Alfred Kinsey, who was the first one to publish information.
Sex research.
That's right. It actually didn't exist. The first experience really with having published research of this kind, this is actually new. It actually became mostly known in the 60s. That shows you how relatively new this is. Before then, it was never discussed about. They used to think, there was a whole discussion, believe it or not, about the value of a clitoris. In 1950s and 1960s, there were distinct discussions about whether or not it was valuable. Also, to define orgasms and dealing with the issues of orgasms that occurred with or without a penis inserted. Believe this is true.
Sounds like flower children to me. 60s,
Well,
yeah.
This goes because they didn't know much. Well, Kinsey was one of the first people who started really just to poll people about what they did. And he shocked America back then because the first thing is that when he came out and talked about what people did, everybody freaked out because no one knew what we did. Well, they're still shocking people.
Okay.
The institute, which is now, it's at the, I believe it's at Indiana. Let me see, where is it? It's at one of the schools. One of the schools. Indiana University, thank you, I was right. And it's still publishing and doing studies about the prevalence of our activities. And let me give examples of some of the things they study. And this is in their frequently asked questions. They have a frequently asked sexuality questions. And it includes things like age of first intercourse, fantasies, internet pornography, penis size, sex and aging, sexually transmitted infections, bondage, discipline, sadomasochism, frequency of sex, masturbation, pregnancy, sex and relationships, teen sexual activity, vaginal size, sex practices, prostitution, number of partners, homosexuality, contraceptions, infidelity, HIV/AIDS, orgasm, reproductive health, sexual violence.
Whoa.
Tons of stuff.
Frequently asked questions.
Look at that. I gave you a handout, didn't I, DeVoe? Okay.
There's a lot of pages here, guys.
So we're going to deal with some of the topic of the kids survey, but I tell you guys, I got distracted because of the information. So I wanted.
That's why we have 20 pages.
Since DeVoe was here, I said, hey, I got to. So I'm gonna read you some of the statistics and see what you guys think about this. Okay. First of all, by age 15, 26% of the females become sexually active.
That's so young.
And 25% of the men.
Here.
Check this out.
We know why that number is like that. It's an obvious reason.
Okay, the average age of first intercourse for females is 17.4 years. For men is 16.9. Now people say, well, how does it go by race? Because y'all black guys is just doing it.
Always.
Doing it.
At 7 years old, you're doing it.
Yeah, not. Okay, here's the age of first intercourse by ethnicity. Whites, statistically having their first sex at 16.6 years. Blacks at 15.8 years. So a whole 8 months earlier.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hispanic, 17 years. Asians, 18.1. And others, 17.4.
Yeah. And now, Asians, because they look at things differently.
Now, the Ys, I'll leave the Ys up to you guys. See, the Ys. Remember, now what are these? These are surveys. These are what people report.
Right.
Anonymous reporting. So they self-identify. Well, they self-identify.
Yeah.
Statistically, I can just tell you that the methodology's been looked at over and over again through the years, and they're very reliable. In fact, you guys realize that most of these polls are actually pretty reliable, even the election ones. When they give you the plus, when they tell you the score is 80 plus or minus 10, they are saying they have a 99% confidence that it's going to be within that range. That's where the accuracy is. They can't tell you exactly what number. In other words, an 80 could be a 70 or the 80 could be a 90. So when they tell you things plus or minus, but within that range, you would be amazed at the accuracy as it relates to topics. The methodology is very good.
That's general statistics, baby. Always reliable.
It's not hard to figure out human beings.
Yeah, they put a lot of money behind it.
Like, we're kind of tribal. We just have a couple of us on the planet.
Oh, go ahead. There's a lot of freaks out there. You guys are part of statistics. Just admit it. Can't help it.
Can't help it.
Okay. Now, how about bondage, discipline, sadomasochism?
Bondage, discipline.
In a general sample, they said there were no significant differences. They said there's kind of a more uniformity of these practices across the. It's interesting. I'm not sure how to interpret that. What they're saying here. 71% of heterosexual males
like the bondage,
and 11% of heterosexual females
like the S&M.
No, well, they're here. Okay, who likes to be on top? Okay,
The
who
female.
wants to be most dominant? And 71% of heterosexual men like to be on top and dominant. 11% of heterosexual females like to be on top and dominant. And 12% of homosexual males prefer the dominant role. As it turns out, more of the homosexuals tend to be in the more passive female roles than the more dominant.
That
It's
makes
interesting.
sense. No, it
I
makes
didn't know
sense.
that, but we're going to see the numbers, okay? 5 to 10% of the U.S. population engage in sadomasochism on at least occasional basis. 55% of females, and this is what I told you, and 50% of males reported having responded erotically to being bitten. So 50% of the people out there, y'all like to be bitten. I like to be.
You like to be bitten?
Huh?
You like to be bitten?
Not by. Ah! There goes the titty.
You literally scared her.
The
to
beast.
death.
I know.
He did. He's
He
like,
did.
She
That's
said,
all
"Damn,
face.
it's the beast. It's the beastly Mario. Look at your face. It's the beastly. All right, let's go to condom use, because this is the other shocking study.
Yeah,
Vic.
condom use. How
Okay,
many is
first
that?
of all, young folks use condoms. The
Good for you
campaigns work. If you look at condoms, okay, for condom use, the highest use is among single young folks, 1 in 3. Condom use is higher among blacks and Hispanics than among whites. Okay? Now, among women who practice contraception, the pill is more popular. 30% use that. Actually, sterilization is more popular among women than condoms. Among women, the pill 30%, sterilization 27%, and the
Make it
male
neck.
condom 18%. 27% of teenage women use condoms as their choice. Now, here's the shocker, you guys. Look at this. Among people over 45, terrible statistics for condom use. From people over 60, like 5%. For people over 45, it's averaging around 10%.
Wow.
So people
They're just not.
our age,
Less sex.
less, they ain't using no rubbers.
and they're having less sex.
Well,
Yeah, see, it goes two ways now. They're not having sex, and they're not using protective sex.
DeVoe, go to page 3. Let's talk about
Oh,
sex.
it's also confusing.
This is the frequency of sex. Drum roll, everybody. This is the How often are you doing it? And by the way, they define this for the survey as vaginal sex.
Yes, because there's all kinds.
And there's
of
all
sex.
kind of sex. You know, Kinsey, they're scientists. They ain't messing around. They want to know. I'm only interested in this for a scientific reason, to help out the community, as community service, to all our folks
I'd
out
like
there.
to read Kenzie's bio.
Why you trying to? Why don't you just deal with the data? Trying to get into his stuff.
That's what I like.
We're trying to find out your frequency.
Yeah.
They're trying to get at the poor Alfred. He's dead now, but he wondered what it was. Okay. Here's the thing, you guys. What is the frequency of sex? Let's guess, you guys. What percentage of people 18 to 24 have not had sex in the last year?
Percentage? I'll say I have not 18 to 20. I would say
No sex.
9%.
DeVoe, don't be looking.
56%.
That's right. 56% of your folks, of men, excuse me, this is men. 56% of men aged 18 to 24 have had no sex.
I'm saying it's very surprising.
Vic,
But
what's
'cause
amazing-
They're texting.
They're lying.
They're freaking.
Because the men are like,
Sexy.
what's amazing is if you look at every age group, the number of men not having sex is actually high. In the last year, among 18 to 24-year-olds, like she said, 56% have had no sex. In the last year, if you look at 25 to 29-year-old men, 46% have had no sex.
Nobody's having sex.
If you look at men 30 to 39, 39% are
That's
having
when you
no
guys
sex.
start getting
What you
busy.
actually see is there's always a sizable about a part of the single population that ain't getting laid. When you look at people my age, 50 to 59, I'm 55 years, I just turned 55. 67% of the men the single men, 67% of the single men my age
Right.
have had no sex in the last year.
I know, and those reports, men are lying. They're just lying their ass off.
They're lying.
Now check it out, you guys. You know
Think
what
they
made the
really
big
having
difference? Check it out. Here's what made the difference. They also separated people out by single, partnered, which means has a partner but not married, and married. Now, if you look at people, men my age who have a partner, only 34% have not had sex in a year.
Well, then it just pays to go get a
But
partner.
look at married. When you look at married men my age,
Oh, they're having sex all the time.
20% of them have not had sex in the last
If they're
year.
not having sex with their wife, they're having sex with someone else.
Now, is that a cause for the women to go out and seek other companionship?
It may be. But check this out.
It might be.
If you look at men who have a partner, age 18 to 24,
They got-
still 25% ain't had sex in the last year. This is where it actually gets the best statistic.
Oh.
If you look at men 30 to 39 with a partner, 85% of them are having sex.
Well, of course, you have a partner.
But 15% ain't.
Well, you know what? There are some strangeums out there. Some strangeums.
Okay.
I mean,
Let's look at the women, which is different. If you look at women,
Yeah, we want to get the
single women 18 to 24
with no partners are having
with no partners have not had 50% of them have had no sex in a year.
And that's typical.
If you look at the women my age, 50 to 59, that are single without a partner, 85% have had no sex.
Yeah, the older you get, the less you really want to be.
But with a
involved in-
partner, only 21% have had sex. So the key is having a partner.
Key is having a
Duh. Did you know married folks and partnered folks are very similar in statistics?
Yeah, I noticed that.
Wow.
Well, there
All
is
right.
no difference if you're married or you're unmarried, but if you're connected, you're going to be hanging out in the bed together a lot.
You know what? They should have the 3 choices with every stat: happy, not happy, unsure.
Well, I'm telling you, this is good news, and that's what we're focusing on today. Go take a look, you guys. Search out Kinsey, the Kinsey Institute. Get the latest statistics. Just interesting things. Just interesting things.
Just interesting.
Man, if you just want to
We
find out
Yeah, want to find out everybody else.
internet porn,
And
who's
where do you
watching
fall?
porn,
Where do you fall in?
where do I
line?
fall in?
Yeah, well, we know where you fall in.
That's right.
You just fall out, okay?
I fall out. I'm an outlier.
Basically.
You know.
Infidelity. Whoa, that's a cool one.
Well, Devon, let me ask you something. Do you feel that men are like the lions of Africa? When they get ready to have some, they just go get some.
Oh, yeah. I feel that very much so.
Yeah, do you
More
bel-
so than women. I feel that men, and this is why, because to them, their penis is like an arm. It's like a third arm. Like he said, he had 3 arms, okay?
Right.
And we as women, more so because we are inside, we're a little more, I don't know, we have more value, I think, on sex than men. Because you will shove your arm anywhere. You will shove your arm, you pick up poop. Veterinarians shove their arm up butts of horses. So basically, that's how I feel that most men think about their penis. They'll shove it anywhere.
Now, let me ask you another
Well,
question to follow.
I want to thank DeVoe for her penis insights.
Oh, wait a minute.
We can't get this
Wait a
everywhere.
minute.
Everybody, this is special. DeVoe's insight to the penis,
minute.
our third arm.
Wait a minute.
And that's why we don't mind analyzing people, because we don't mind the poop.
With the third arm.
Thank you, DeVoe.
I'm sorry. I got to follow
Right
this
her
one.
I'm sorry.
with
you
this.
guys-
Don't be
Wait a minute.
sorry. Wait,
I
be
don't
sorry.
get it. Wait a minute. The
Sorry.
third
Sit
arm.
down.
Okay.
Third arm.
Now, let me ask you something.
Third
DeVoe?
arm.
Yes.
Is it something very attractive about those lions who say, I'm coming to get it, that women like?
Oh, yeah. A lot of women like that aggressive,
There you go.
untamed.
There you go.
You know, I mean,
Come
I was
get
just thinking about that. I actually went out with a guy once who was extremely animalistic.
What's that
You know,
mean?
I walked into his
He
apartment.
growled during sex. He sniffed it first.
Kind of was growling. He,
He was, wait a minute, he was growling.
walked up on me, and the way he held me and was feeling on me, and then tossed me down. I was like,
Oh, damn, that sounds good.
Okay. I was like, okay.
Stood you on the head, huh? Gave you some
He
bruises.
got none that night.
But he had fun. Just
Wait a
setup
minute, wait a
was
minute.
fun.
There's a catch, Mario.
He
There's
had
a
an
catch.
orgasm setting it up.
There's a catch. She said
He got none
that night.
Oh, that night.
Well,
That
I mean,
night.
Oh!
Oh, so yeah.
got some later on.
So what he did, he came as a python, but he needed to come as a cobra.
That's right.
That's what he
He
needed to
didn't
do.
leave empty-handed. All right. So as you can see,
the other
DeVoe's an
shit.
expert.
Okay, we are at the other shit. The good
She's an
shit.
expert. All right. So on top of this, do you guys think pornography is driving men crazy?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Oh,
come
yeah.
on.
Absolutely. It's actually 2 of my friends are divorcing their husband over it. Absolutely.
Why?
That's
They could
too
just let
high
him
of a
have it, then they didn't have to divorce.
Come on.
All they had to do was let him have it. There would have been no divorce.
Let me tell you something about pornography.
What did they object to
It
about
is-
them
it is-
having
it is
pornography?
affecting the mind, and then the penis goes next.
So what was they
A lot
objecting
of
to?
guys
Without
who
naming
watch
names.
porn get to a point where they can't really get even an erection unless they have the porn on, okay? And then he's so bad now he doesn't even get hard. He just wants to watch. And you know what those are called? Those are
45 older, 45 and older, 45 and older
called
men.
voyeurs. They just want to watch it. They're not desiring no longer to have
Now,
it.
a lot of
or wanna
times-
go through all the trouble of having
Okay.
it. They just want to watch
In all
it.
fairness,
What?
many times when we've investigated male sexual erectile dysfunction, we've shown pictures of their old lady.
Listen,
And
my friends
sometimes
are
you understand.
extremely attractive
Sometimes you
and
understand
sexy.
why.
Both of my friends
But
are
you know what,
extremely-
DeVoe?
Something
It's not about necessarily just being
You may
extremely
think they're
attractive.
attractive.
Wonder if the extremely attractive women make it maybe more difficult to enjoy it
Well, maybe.
as an
True.
impromptu act and
Okay.
not a like. I'm gonna say this for a reason because I've had this experience where if you're not doing it that much, then it becomes an indictment.
What if they're no good?
Wait a minute. Are you getting it somewhere else? If I'm doing it a lot, it's almost like, that's all you think about. So somewhere, isn't there a fine line in
You
women
gotta find the middle.
Yeah, isn't it true that women do indict, in most cases, either positive or negative, the frequency of how often you want to have sex?
Yes,
right?
they
Okay.
do, and
All
I'm
right.
not saying that's a good thing. But what is really a bad thing is that when you want to sit in front of your computer and watch it more than you want to do it with your woman at the house.
Why do you
what
think?
she look like?
Well, yeah, what?
Like I said, she's a good-looking woman.
Well, maybe she don't do
And
nothing. Maybe
it's-
she won't dress up.
It's not
Maybe
that.
she won't be
He
nasty.
becomes a voyeur. He wants to watch.
Maybe she don't want to
There's
mess up her hair.
No, there's a bunch of people who rather watch sex than have sex.
No,
Trust me on
I
that.
do. That do. It's in the statistics
Okay?
right there.
Oh,
Right.
oh.
Yeah, voyeurism
Right.
is actually
Yeah.
fairly
Is
common
it? It
among
is.
the general population.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I didn't know it was on here, but so and I think porn does that to you.
Well,
guys.
what-
I think too much porn will cause you to be.
What's
a
too
voyeur.
much?
Watching it every
No,
day.
there are
3-4
What
times
should
a
they
day.
watch?
You know what?
What should?
There are all kinds of things you can watch.
Like what?
Okay,
Oprah? Oprah versus porn.
Get off
Oprah,
the
don't come-
computer and go
Oprah,
do
you know I'm
something
joking.
outside.
No, DeVoe.
I mean, become creative.
DeVoe.
Get away from this thing. It's
DeVoe.
like what?
If I sit here-
Pornhub.
wait
Go
a
to
minute. No.
Pornhub.
See, what you're talking about is a man is thinking about. Now, I'm not defending. I'm just saying what I think is happening, and I can relate with the idea that it's like when men would get young in age where they get an erection in the morning. It'd just be in the morning, right?
Right, every morning.
All right. So I'm saying this: a man is thinking about sex, and he has a partner, and he has somebody.
Right.
Should he immediately act out on his thoughts every time?
Every time.
Now you're saying that women that go like, I love when every time he thinks about it, he comes at me.
Yeah.
Please introduce me to some of those women. Okay.
Well, women need a healing too. A lot of women are all messed up in their heads. What happened to them when they were children.
That's why they don't want to have no sex.
A lot of the ancestral thing has happened with our ladies that are now ancestral. A lot of that kind of stuff. So shut up, Mario.
That's okay. We know what you mean. Don't say it. Insects, little spiders,
A
little
lot of sex
insects.
is going on in the family.
Oh,
God.
It messes up our women.
Oh, God,
and
geez.
so sometimes you have that problem too, where your woman is kind of a little ticked off or messed up in her head.
Oh, that
But
helps.
yeah, I mean it happens.
Sometimes it's just bad pussy. Bad. It's
But
bad.
I mean, you know what? You're
it's,
with.
like, it's like some of the men. It's
I
bad.
try to tell my friends.
bad. What you
when
say
your
is
man
bad. It's
wants
no-
it, you
no
need
good
to
no
give
more.
it to him, just like when men, when your woman wants it, you need to give it to her, okay? Or they'll start looking outside of the relationship.
You go, girl.
Oh, DeVoe.
That's why she's belly dancing.
That's right, DeVoe.
She gonna make
That has
hers.
nothing
She
to
gonna make
do
hers
with
jump
it.
and dribble.
Wait a minute. What makes
Move
for a
around.
better what makes for a better relationship in the scenario where men can get the satisfaction of their sexual thoughts as often as it comes? A woman who said that you suggested and says, you need to give it to him, or the kind of suggestions that a woman says, I like to take it from him as much as he like to take it from me.
12%.
You got that statistic?
12%. They like to be dominant.
A little bit of both.
There you
I
go.
don't think that it's always should be the aggressor. That should be the aggressor.
88% of women
I think-
want to be aggressed upon.
Yes, and I think a bunch
Only
of men
12%
do
of y'all
too.
want to ride high.
And I think it needs to be, an equal thing. Sometimes you need to jump on your man, ladies.
Isn't it true though,
Okay?
DeVoe?
Especially when they're watching that sports.
Isn't it true,
That's
DeVoe,
a bad
that some women have a penchant for saying, "I like jewelry, I like shopping, I like other things that I focus on," just as they focus on their hair, or they focus on men
true.
who like to take them out to dinner a lot against, say, other women who say it's not a requirement.
Okay.
So, if there's a meeting, there was a give and take. Why is it that the sex is held more hostage? I'm not saying that it is.
Because sex is like this. Going out and doing all that is a whole
Hey.
nother thing.
But
That's
what
why I
about the
said
ones-
that penis
Okay,
is like an
I had-
arm? You're relating
Wait,
sex
I had
with like
women-
going out and doing that. It's not like that. When you're having sex with
I've had a
man,
couple tell me straight out gifts turn them on.
Yeah, I'm saying.
They say, you know what turns me
Thank
on?
you. That's what I'm trying to
Expensive
say.
ass gifts make me hotter than a mug.
DeVoe, and the part I'm trying to tell you is that we're
I'll be
usually
hot.
we're talking about the people. We're talking about the people who basically may have something to say because to justify the reasons they're not getting it enough, or somebody's doing something different. I said, but the happy folks are not complaining at all.
No, they're not. And I'm telling you, happy folks aren't watching a whole bunch of porn either. Not
Maybe
a
they
whole
are
bunch.
together.
They can.
Okay.
I'm not saying porn is terrible. I'm saying the question was too much porn.
What's too much? What's
porn.
too much?
It will turn you into a voyeur. I mean,
What's too much porn?
every
Daily?
day,
What
How
about too much
how about,
romance?
how about
Day.
4 times a day?
that's too much.
How about once
that's
a
like
week?
jacking off 4 times a day. That's too much.
Is there
No,
such
no,
thing
no,
as-
wait. You know what the statistics on masturbation is, though? Depending on your age, teenage men have been known to masturbate multiple times per day.
But then you
Like
go
before
out of that.
school.
Right.
You remember when you were so young, man, that before you, even as a young man, when
Yep.
you were going on your early dates, older guys would say, sometimes you should masturbate before you go on a date.
Right.
So you
They
could
used
just
to
be,
say that.
so you just be calm.
So you could be chill,
That's how much.
Yep.
How much nature you had in you.
ready to explode.
Wow.
You would have. You be in the
Right.
shower. How to survey men? How many men before a big date masturbate in the shower?
Wow.
Just get that stat.
Watch.
I bet you it's 65%.
See, the part about it is there.
I bet
DeVoe,
you
So glad we as
65%.
women do not have
is
to worry
there
about that.
is there such thing
Yeah, what
as
you missing?
too much romance? Oh, I want to hear this one.
Oh, that's a good
okay.
question.
Because see, if you're gonna say too much sex, and I'm not
Yeah,
defending the porn
I
thing.
think you
I'm
can
just
have
saying.
too much romance.
There's a such thing as too
Okay.
much
I
romance.
think it's too much of anything. Anything could be too much of. There's a balance of everything.
There you go.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I dated a man who
Damn.
was too romantic, and it became.
Damn.
It wasn't.
He loved you
special-
too much.
It wasn't special anymore. It became
Like-
almost like mechanical.
That's the one.
Right.
Then you wanted the beastly dude back to throw you
No.
down and
No.
beastalize you.
No. I went in. I mean, I was romantic with him all the time too. I mean, whatever.
But it took
No,
the
there's that-
mystery
it
away.
Took
Yeah.
the mystery away,
It took
though.
the
mystery
Sometimes
away.
you want it to not be like
By
that,
romance.
and then later on get like that.
You
know?
mean
Yeah.
like a lot of kissing on the face and
Yes,
I love you?
Yes, and touching.
Yeah.
And just no,
Yeah.
Mario, shut up.
And, man,
Flowers every day. Trust me, I love flowers every day.
sleeping in the wet spot.
But sometimes we have to have special occasions. So if you
Need
give me
time.
a flower every day,
Nah.
You want time.
you gotta
Nah.
give me a bouquet when it's a
Nah,
special time.
whatever's by the freeway. Whatever's by the, I get you some oranges and some flowers at the same
That's a
time.
mess.
What?
walk
That's
in
how
with
you
orange
know.
and flowers,
I give you some
know.
oranges and some flowers.
Hey, you, give me all that for $10.
That's right.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's enough of that. We're gonna leave sex alone
Yeah.
for today. But I want y'all to see the controversy. Go search out Kinsey Institute. Go find out what percentage of people your age are having oral sex. Shock the shit out of you, I'm telling you. I'm still shocked, you guys, but how many of single men of every age range ain't getting laid? I mean, and women too. If you look, what it basically says, if you don't have a boyfriend or a
You're
girlfriend,
not getting laid.
you ain't getting laid.
But you know what? This
If
has
you
a
ain't
lot to
married.
do with it. The internet. It really does.
That's
It has taken the place of sex.
They're saying 1 in 4 dating relationships are now starting online.
Exactly. And a friend of mine told me the other day she had a relationship online with somebody for a year before she met him. And it was very hot and heavy.
So they are doing that masturbation over the internet stuff.
Okay, so,
That's what's it's like phone sex.
Like
It's
phone
healthy,
sex. It's healthy.
safe,
safe.
Safe. All you gotta do is wash your hands.
I don't see no different than magazines.
There you go.
When they had magazines, complaints were too. You have Playboy magazines or something like that around, nude magazines that say it's a period in a time you get past.
You know why a lot of women do not like their men to look at those magazines?
Because they don't want to take it that way.
They don't want to be. They don't want to be judged the body wise as a woman who would go and get.
Well,
extra
wait.
food.
We watch porno and there's a penis this big.
Exactly. What
And one of my
there's
buddies
that
even
too.
told me, said, some of these pornos are a little intimidating.
Exactly. Then there's
But
that
when
too.
we watch it, we just pretend our penis is like that.
Yeah.
Well, and the
Pretend
guy
your
goes
body
on
looks like that.
forever, you know
Pretend
what I
your
mean?
sagging
He-
breasts
So,
look like.
so that's why a lot of people don't like it because they don't want to be judged by it.
But we are judged. Men are judged
And
every
women are
day.
judged, yeah.
Without the internet,
What-
women are judged
yeah.
and men are judged
Yeah,
without the
without-
internet.
Porno, the
Yeah.
penis is this big.
I know.
And yet the guys can tolerate it.
And some woman is taking that big of a penis.
Hey,
That's
we
the
know,
next thing.
we know we ain't packing no. Them guys get erection, they fake. Blood rushes from their head.
Wait a minute.
I'm just saying.
No, DeVoe covers a good point because we did do something with Virtually Uncut where he said there was a topic about too large, and he says, "Oh my God, I feel sorry for the men that follows you afterwards. That follows afterwards.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, because you.
That's when you turn them over in their stomach. I tell you, I got advice for everybody. I got
you know
advice
what?
for everybody.
I had a time when a guy and I were romantically involved. When he dropped his drawers, I wouldn't give him anything
Why
because
not?
I would never have been the same after that. I felt
You could have
sorry
grabbed
for him.
it and
I told him I'm
you could have
really
stroked
sorry.
it and made a wish.
I'm not sure who is going to give you some.
that's the story.
Okay.
That's the one."
You're supposed to
But
stroke it.
you
and
are too large to be going inside of me.
you could have massaged it,
I
dressed
didn't
it up,
wanna- I didn't want to even
Put-
touch it.
put-
It was that big.
make it to a cake.
You know, I felt sorry for him because I
Yeah.
know that he probably gets
Runs
that a
into
lot.
that, doesn't it?
Now some people are size queens.
He got to go find him one of them girls in them porns and
That's
take
right.
those penises like
Well,
that.
So there's
they
the
take
problem. Too big or too small can be a problem,
Can
right?
be a problem.
Can be
Thank
a problem.
you.
But men,
Now that we know
yeah.
your extensive experience, I want to know that you are now our resident. I used to think I was the sex expert.
Well, I
Now
have
I
a lot
know
of
the
friends.
phone.
I have a lot
I
of
meet
friends.
you, get
and I am
friends.
I'm a counselor
Me
to
too.
a lot of people.
Yes.
So I get a chance to hear a lot of different stories. I
Uh-huh.
mention no names.
And
I
it's
just
all
say
through
I
what you've
have a
heard.
friend. All what
All
I
you're
heard.
learning as a
All I
sex
heard.
researcher
That's right.
is based on your.
I am
hearing.
the second Kinsey.
So how many of those women that you are counseling to are very, very happy? Matter of fact, just can't wait to share the stories with you.
About their sex lives?
Yeah.
Not a lot.
That's because they old.
A lot of those
Get the young
women-
ones. They more sharing.
No, I have a lot of young
Those over
friends
40
'cause
ain't sharing shit.
Those
They
models,
ain't sharing
my
a
models
goddamn
are
thing.
under 40.
See,
And they don't have stories to tell that are exciting. Most of their guys are not pleasing them.
Wow.
see what I'm saying?
So they want
Wow.
more.
They gotta get the older dudes.
They-
And
want
do.
more frequency?
They go out
Go get
to,
the study.
They go out to the older guys. you
Tie
know.
them up. The vote told
So
you.
wait a minute. So the younger women go after the older men. The older
And the younger guys are
got-
going after the older women.
Women.
It's a
Wow.
real strange thing
Wow.
happening. They're not actually pleasing themselves, so they're reaching out to other age groups. And I see that a lot because they don't seem to, outside of this, they don't seem to have it going on.
Got you.
And that's
Well,
just
whatever
my
helps the
circle
species.
of models. You know, models are a little
Your circle of
different
freaks.
than your doctors or your lawyers. Models have a whole nother
You would
brain.
model, and many of those are natural people.
They're not.
Vegan, because
Don't,
vegan. Let's
Mario,
face it,
don't not
vegans
start.
have different kind of sex.
No, these have nothing to do
Vegans,
with my
all
vegan friends.
you vegetarian people,
It's not
it's
true.
it
I'm
affects your
speaking of
sex.
A cluster of people
Hell
I hang
yeah.
out with that are models.
They all
eat meat.
natural. They do.
They have smoked cigarettes. Yeah, a lot
They
of
smoke
those ones.
cigarettes too.
Yes.
That's the ones I want.
This-
Ones that eat meat, smoke cigarettes. You know that's some good shit. The ones with it's a temple, they ain't gonna be no goodness. When the body's a temple, they have.
Just
you know,
let it flow, baby. Just let it flow. Don't
Do you
worry
think having dreadlocks means it's gonna be good or bad?
It means either one.
See, it
Everybody
doesn't correlate.
Has locks.
Okay, because
It's
people
a trend, it's a style,
people
it's a
expect different,
religion,
don't
it's
they?
well, they do.
They expect you to be more open and
They expect me
free.
to know certain things because I have locks. People come up to me and ask me things.
They didn't know you didn't know none of it.
And I was like, are you asking that because I have locks? Like, where can I buy some weed?
That's wrong.
I'm like, are you asking me that because of this?
Somebody asked you.
I don't know where you can buy
Let's
some
go.
weed. at. Sorry.
Let's go.
But, you
They say,
know,
where can you buy some
all
weed?
the time. All the
Okay.
time. And
So-
I'm thinking,
So you can actually get what they call. So Mario and I fall under a certain thing. So bald-headed men have a certain reputation.
Oh yeah.
And Mario, men with hair,
Well,
have
Mario
a
has a reputation.
Yeah.
It's
What
just
reputation?
all by
I'm enjoying the
himself.
reputation.
He doesn't have a tribe of people like
But it
maybe
ain't-
you, Victor.
'cause it's all
Bald
it's
head,
all
I got
old.
locks.
I'm going on reputation. Shit.
One man.
I'm going on old Mario stories. You know,
Which
any
are a
good
joke in themselves.
any good Mario Hemsley stories you heard, they definitely pre-millennium. They usually dated prior to 1997.
But I knew
Since
Mario.
97, it's been bad. It's
I
been
knew Mario
bad.
when he was active.
Oh, you
right.
did?
Yeah, you know, I was hanging out back then, and he had some crazy experiences. He would come back and say, "I met this girl, and she put a strap on.
Had a bad
I met
experience.
this other girl, and she asked me. There was someone
Had
asked
to
me
run
some
from her.
strange questions before you guys even had sex.
I have had some strange ones.
She
I ain't
asked
lying.
some wild questions.
I've had some that the more they talk, you start zipping back up. You just start, zip. Yeah, you just start putting all your shit on. They want all the time they talking. Fix your tie, jacket.
Grab your
Yes.
keys. I'm like, where you going? Oh, I just forgot.
Yeah, the last
something to do.
how they never did find your last boyfriend. Okay, all right,
All
all right. So you guys, hey, listen, we're gonna change up because we're gonna move on now. Tell you what, tune in tomorrow, and we'll have some of the other stories because we're running a little late today.
And we got a
Yeah.
special guest tomorrow, man.
Oh, that's right, we got special guests.
Woo, woo,
right.
woo.
So maybe he might. Well, anyway, I might even save some of these for next. We'll see. We have first of all the Kung Fu birthplace goes commercial video, all about the Shaolin priests now and all the tourists. We got the tsunami effects on Japanese relationships.
Yeah, 7 for next Tuesday.
We'll save those for next week. But tomorrow our special guest,
Yep.
the progeny, the son of DJ Quick. We're gonna have Young Quick here.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
that's gonna be
Talented in his own right. We
Yeah.
love now because we pay homage to the father son. We did it for the sports.
Yep.
You know, it's just to come in those bloodlines of talent. So we like to acknowledge that. But so Young Quick is going to be here tomorrow.
I may come in. You know, I have some
Oh,
friends.
now you may come in. Ain't that a bitch? Ain't that a bitch? Now she gonna come in.
Wait a
now.
minute, Mario.
I was gonna say, I have some
I tried to tell you it's not us, man. People don't want to come and see you and I,
Ain't
man.
that a
No,
bitch?
no. I have some friends coming in town from New York.
Okay.
They're an artist, and I think it'll be cool. We'll just come in as guests. We
Oh.
won't, I won't sit here. We'll sit over there and just.
Oh,
Well,
no,
how you know?
You got to be in the show.
Yeah,
you
you
got to
can
be
talk
in
about
it.
picking out seats already and shit. I'll sit. Ain't that or something
I'll
else?
sit in the audience.
What audience?
Have they read the Kinsey report?
I'm not sharing this with any
That's right.
of my male friends.
Ladies and gentlemen,
That's it.
that's the good news.
Uh-huh.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. It's all about sex. Sorry. I know you're not getting laid. You in that percentile. Everybody, the good news, the bad news, the other stuff. Hope you loved it. Good news. Bad news. No sex.
No, and no sex.
She
And no sex.
didn't even want to rub it.
Yeah. Nah, man. You know we gotta do a joint for the ladies, right? So every club worldwide, we gonna move y'all like this. Come on. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Big girl. Big girl. Big girl. Big girl. Big girl. It's Friday night when the club lines be out the door. Watch the silly.